The smells I get in this job are fantastic. Mostly they're nice. So sailcloth is relatively porous and quite an open weave. When it's first made, it will allow some wind to go through there, and you're losing the efficiency of the cloth. You're also allowing water to be able to get between the threads, and this will eventually be longer to dry, so it will start to rot from the inside out. So one of the ways that we stop that happening with traditional sails is to put a coating on it. In the early times, so up until the 16th, 17th century, lanolin was used, where you just have a sheepskin, a fresh sheepskin with the lanolin, and that would just be rubbed over. And the lanolin, of course, would soak in and provide a coating which would keep the sail relatively waterproof. But as time went on and there was more of a need to be able to keep the sails more and more waterproof, we started to use different ochres being dust, for want of a better word. So there are various different ones, and around the country, each one is a different colour. Towards the south coast, you tend to use chalk dust mixed in with an oil, and then that was painted in. Traditionally, the oil was inevitably fish oil or linseed oil if you're a bit more inland, but it's whatever was abundant to wherever the sail was being made or being coated. On this instance, we've got some red oxide. It is a very fine dust, but what that does is that fills up all the gaps. If you imagine like a sieve being filled up by something slightly thicker, it's not going to let the water through. And that's what we want in this instance. We're going to add a little bit of oil to it. You start to see it mixing into being a red colour. Please excuse the modern paintbrush. You can start to see that as I'm painting it, you can go from being able to see through to each of those grains or those spaces in that sail, in that cloth weave, are being coated, and all the little bits of dust are starting to go inside. And now that would be, when that dries, be a much more efficient way to use this material, because now it's taken up all the holes, and the wind should now start to, instead of blowing through it, it's actually going to start to stop. And if I turn the other side, you start to see where it's starting to soak through there. So where it's soaking through, it means the oil that I use is being pulled through, and it's also pulling through some of that dust. That dust has now filled the holes. From my side that I'm looking, which is fantastic, I can see less holes in the piece that I've painted as opposed to where I haven't painted, which is just like a sieve. So that's what we want. We want that area to be covered. And then once that would be dried, and you used to see the sails laid out all around Malvern and the London docks, all being laid out once or twice a year, being covered in this way.